I can tell you that vehicle right there, that RAV4, is going to go through number one tunnel out here in Canyon Dune. We're in the Malibu area, coming out the other side. Stolen vehicle, and basically was taunting officers earlier on in the Topanga Canyon area. That vehicle driving extremely slow, running stop signs right in front of officers, and then they were basically following that vehicle, basically just trying to get their backup in place. But by that time, there's tunnel number 2 out here on Canyon Dune. But by that time, that vehicle really had kind of picked up some speed. They had a helicopter over it. This was on surface streets out in the valley. Off of Valley View, and then he made his way onto the 101. After that, it was a totally different game. That vehicle probably moving as fast as it can. I would be guessing almost at 100 miles an hour at some points. Keeping quite a distance from those officers pursuing, but when it got really dangerous is right now. Got off the 101 freeway, got onto Canyon Dune. We've been watching this vehicle moving very, very quickly. Anybody that drives the canyons know, very curvy, lots of other cars. We've seen him going against traffic a couple of times. Luckily, we haven't seen anybody swerve yet, but you have an idea where this is, what's going on. Hard turn right here. We'll get you some streets here in just a moment, but he's trying to avoid these vehicles that are on the ground following him. That helicopter, not going to lose sight of him. That's right. It started, we were listening to it, you know, we always ready for breaking news. We actually heard it, and we heard the inception of this, actually. And they were getting, like I said, they were getting their vehicles behind him. Hard turn right there. Don't know if he's looking for a place to get out of the vehicle or what the plan is there, but coming to a complete stop right there. And the door is open. This is an whoopsie. There you go, dropped your phone. And this is an unusual spot to try to ditch a vehicle and run for it. There isn't really much around here. Clearly, he's not sure about this either. Back into the, I don't know what that was all about. But he's back into the vehicle. There we go. It looks like he's going to continue on. This was a really weird move right there. Clearly, this suspect trying to keep that distance. There we go. Now we're going to be doing some off-roading. Don't know if that RAV4 is a four-wheel drive, but it's something that we're going to be able to watch here right now. Now, the officers from LAPD, they are nearby. And that helicopter going to stay above it. But again, this is very unusual even for LA standards. Now we're doing some off-roading out here in the Malibu Canyon area. Whoa. Clearly not too familiar with how to drive off on a sandy road. Yeah. Brooke, this one is very unusual, and we've got the eagle eye view up here, and I can tell you there isn't much more road. So he's either going to have to make a turn to come back. I'm hearing in one ear the officers from LAPD, the helicopter giving them directions on how to get to where he's at. So there are some officers basically at that turnoff where that dirt road is. It looks like it bleeds its way into a personal, these are probably homes out here. But again, I was told that we're going to run out of road here in just a moment, but it definitely looks like he's getting into a very residential area. This is going to be a problem if he gets out and runs once again. At least his speeds have slowed down a little bit. Looks like he's going to continue on. And again, we saw him almost lose it there once. Hopefully he learned his lesson. He's going to drive a little bit slower. But right now, very unusual pursuit indeed. We know one person in that vehicle, and coming to another spot, it looks like he's looking for a place to dump that vehicle or jump out again. But just unusual. It's just the weirdest thing ever to watch this on these dirt roads out here. And you got to wonder too, with mud because of the recent rains. Lucky he hasn't got himself stuck. Looks like he's pulling up underneath a tree. Probably the first thing that backing up. There he goes. I was going to give him some credit there. I'm going to take that right back, Brooke. Very residential, and somebody had said that that he was going to run out of road, that this dirt road basically dead ends, but it seems like it continues on, and it looks like we're getting into some heavy brush right there. Justin, our cameraman today, doing an amazing job keeping that vehicle in sight, even underneath those trees, going through some ravines right there, or ruts in the road. But this little RAV4 on the run today, LAPD behind it on that dirt road already, but LAPD airship, they're the ones that are really keeping keeping an eye on it. The only thing I'm kind of worried about is if this guy makes a mistake, he could injure himself up here on these dirt roads. We've seen those hard turns and just misjudging how that vehicle is going to handle. Right now, though, seems like he's just kind of calming down a little bit, but still definitely trying to elude these officers this morning out here in the Malibu area. Definitely, probably, clearly not familiar with the area, but you know, the thing about it is you're right. The only person he can really hurt is himself right now. Stolen vehicle, and there we go. That's what we were talking about. Just these are areas where we've had those heavy rains recently. Clearly, dirt roads, not well used. So you got to think you know, he keeps hitting these ruts at high speeds. Looks like he's already done some damage to the front of that car. Looks like one of the part of the marker lights hanging off the front there. So he's definitely starting to work that vehicle, hitting those rivets, hitting those ruts really hard. But this car keeps on going. LAPD's keeping an eye on him and of course those units that are in pursuit behind him definitely going to be taking this much slower. And then I also have a feeling that maybe, whoa, got a little air right there. Maybe they're going to figure out where this comes out, and then they'll meet them at that area. Well, you know, I don't know about that, but Brooke, I do know that most of those Toyotas are pretty sturdy. I don't think they're really designed for this. This is something that I'm worried about. This is a house up here, and if he pulls up into this home and tries to make his way inside this house, that's going to change this entire dynamic of this chase. Right now, it looks like he's just kind of going around, and it looks like he's found a spot where he's going to stop there. I really, yeah, I hope he tries to get out of this area. Now he's ruining the shrubs. Now he's running over the guy's yard equipment. Anyways, it seems like he's kind of boxed himself in. Hopefully the homeowner doesn't come out and confront this guy, and this kind of comes to an end peacefully. But right now, just really one of the weirdest pursuits we've seen in a while, Brooke. Yeah. Well, it looks like he's figured a way to get out of that area right there. We do know LAPD is on that dirt road. I've heard that from our pilot this afternoon, Adam, and then also hearing it on the scanner. What's going to happen when they confront each other, that's going to be a big question as well. Hopefully there's going to be in a spot where they don't have to meet head on, not in a crash, but in any type of situation. Looks like he's stopping again on that driveway. There's LAPD at the bottom of the road. This is going to be interesting, and you just know that folks that live up here in these isolated areas, you know, they live out here for a reason usually, and you just know that the homeowner hopefully is ready or understands what might happen here, and that suspect doesn't try to get inside that home. Doors open again. This is in the driveway of the home. Doors closed again. And it looks like he's trying to plan something. We'll take a look, see what he does. Well, this started apparently as a stolen vehicle, but that vehicle driving very, very slowly at some point and then speeding up. And this was out in the Topanga Canyon area. And basically, it almost seemed like he was taunting officers, running stop signs with the officers right behind him. And then after that, he actually, you know, they got more units, that mean more of those black and whites behind him. And then after that, when they finally just had a number of them, he got onto the freeway and just really opened this thing up, going, you know, 100 miles an hour plus. Right now, you see officers from LAPD. That officer is taking cover safety behind his vehicle. This is one of those ones where he has the opportunity to drive away, and I'm looking where he can go. These dirt roads really kind of continue, but clearly he doesn't know exactly where he's at. That officer from LAPD's got his weapons trained on him. Now, the only time that there would be shots fired in this situation, or should only be time that something like this would happen, is if he rams that vehicle into that officer's vehicle or tries to run over that officer. Right now, it seems to be a little bit more of a standoff. That suspect making some decisions. We're going to hope he makes the right one. Right, and you saw it when he jumped out, Brooke. I mean, he dropped his phone. He almost fell down. Even trying to get back into the vehicle, looks like he bumped his head pretty hard on that door. So clearly not in a sane or in a clear thinking type of situation. You just kind of hope that the adrenaline's wore off. He's starting to think about what's going on, and he's going to make that right choice and just kind of give it up. Really, I don't know why he's just kind of waiting there. Was earlier on. I said it seemed like he was taunting officers. Hopefully that's not his plan. Hopefully he doesn't want to have more officers arrive here, because that's what's going to happen sooner than later. That's right. And again, we're listening in, and the LAPD's got a plan together. They're basically going to try to block the roadways. But again, this is one of those situations where they might think that this suspect is armed. You can see that officer right there. He's got his weapon out, and he's standing there alone. That vehicle in the driveway. Clearly, from our perspective, he could drive off. He could just drive away from that officer. I don't know why he's just kind of waiting there. But right now, backup is on the way. And this seems to be more of a standoff out here in Malibu than a pursuit at this moment. Well, yeah, definitely doing some of the driving on some of these roads that hasn't been driven on in quite some time. Looking out the window, I know that they're trying to get more officers here, but I haven't seen any. I'm wondering if maybe some of them have gotten stuck, and it's just kind of a waiting game right now. The helicopter's still circling above. If Justin gets a little bit of a wider shot, we can also show you some of these roads that they could take. He could basically just make a turn there and just drive away from that officer. I'm not sure if he's unclear or if he thinks that officer is going to shoot at him or what's going to happen. But there are plenty of roads that he could take. Did he just say that the keys are on the? He is complying. He is complying, and he said that he just put the keys on the dashboard. So we're going to keep an eye on that vehicle and see how this ends. Hopefully this guy just gets out of that car and goes into custody. Not going to drive off, Brooke. And again, that was unconfirmed. We're listening in on the radios out here. We heard it. We heard that crosstalk going on. That it seems like he has the keys on the dashboard, or perhaps maybe that officer's telling him to put the keys on the dashboard. Usually, they tell him to throw the keys out the window. We've seen that many times at the end of a pursuit. But if the keys are out of the ignition and on that dash, that'll give them at least a few moments, maybe to block that car in if they feel that they can. But right now, just kind of a standoff. Maybe that suspect making those last phone calls, talking to some friends, or possibly even calling a lawyer. Well, yeah, definitely. When he got onto the freeway, actually this is a much newer RAV4. Usually in my mind when I think of a RAV4, I think of the early model ones, and I was wondering how he was doing 100 miles an hour on the freeway. This clearly is a newer model RAV4, and it was keeping up. It was keeping up with what that driver wanted to do. Then when I got on the off-road there, it was made its way up that hillside pretty easily, doing some damage to the front of that vehicle. But he was running that thing pretty hard. Again, stolen vehicle. You know the old line: drive it like you stole it. This suspect definitely was doing that this morning. But right now, though, it's just a long wait. As other officers are trying to make their way up that dirt road. I'm wondering if any of them got stuck down there. Just kind of looking out the window right now, I can follow the road, but this is a long, arduous wait for sure. Especially, you've got to imagine we're watching this kind of standoff, but you have that one officer down there with his weapon trained on that suspect and just waiting for that backup to arrive. So there we go. You got some officers coming from the other direction. These are without a vehicle. They actually hoofed it in there. That's pretty bizarre in itself. But this is a unusual situation. Officers from the LAPD doing what they need to do to bring this to an end safely. Again, though, you have two of them walking in, don't know where their vehicle is. I can't see it. You got some more of them behind. But this is a very dangerous situation for those officers. They have no cover whatsoever. And that vehicle could just basically just, you know, that car could take off at any time. So very dangerous situation for those officers. There you go. They're putting they've got their weapons out. And this is also one of those touchy moments. If that suspect makes a wrong decision right now, drives that vehicle towards them, does anything aggressive, this could end the way we definitely do not want to see it end. You know, they basically parked their vehicle a little farther up there, and I'm getting information from Melissa at our desk correcting us, not a RAV4. This is actually a Honda CR-V, so it doesn't make any difference. It does to the people that are probably watching, but they're definitely not a Toyota, it's a Honda. But right now, it's a standoff situation. That suspect not getting out of that vehicle, he still has access to those keys. He didn't throw them out the window, so this guy could change his mind at any moment. But you can see LAPD kind of formulating a plan right there. But how do you approach a vehicle like that? Even, you know, there you go, hands are out. It looks like this is definitely coming to an end right now. The hands are out, the door is open. More officers have arrived, and there the suspect's starting to comply with what officers want. But again, this was a crazy pursuit, very, very dangerous. You got to wonder, you know, with that thick coat, I wonder how officers are going to take him into custody, but they're probably going to do it very slowly. But again, this at least has come to an end. The suspect out of the vehicle right now, and that's what everybody wants to see. Yep. Seemingly ending. It's not really over until that guy's got the silver bracelets on, but definitely complying, doing what officers want him to do. That coat probably would have been better if he had taken it off before he got out of the vehicle, but who knows. Right now, though, you can see him kind of walking back slowly. There's a number of officers down there from LAPD, and apparently Pilot Adams telling me that they have cruisers parked at another location up the hill. I'm still looking out the window. I haven't seen them, but boy, that must have been a hike for those officers in those tense moments. For that one officer standing there holding, you know, with his weapon out, basically covering that suspect for what seemed like an eternity. Yep. And now coming to an end out here in the Malibu area, one person in custody. And again, at least, you know, you got to look at the positives. Nobody was injured. This suspect didn't try to get into anybody's homes. And right now, one suspect in custody, and at least somebody's going to get their vehicle back sooner or later. Yep. He dropped his cell phone. When he jumped out of that car, he jumped out so fast, he wound up throwing his cell phone across the roadway there, and then he picked it up, was stumbling. Maybe he's impaired. Basically ran out, looked like he was going to go for a run, but then he actually saw there was a road right there. That's what probably changed his mind, and he runs back. And it looks like he hits his head or he trips trying to get back into the vehicle, and that's when it became that off-road pursuit out here in the Malibu area. You can see that suspect right now up against the cruiser, taking him into custody, and again, this all coming to an end out here in the Malibu area. Residential dirt roads. I'm not sure if we can even get a name of this road, but more officers are actually on their way in right now, but again, this comes to an end safely as nobody is injured. Thank you, Brooke. It has been so long since I've done a pursuit. Yeah, I want to see him because I keep looking out the window. I don't see him. Where are they? Straight down? Oh, why'd they stop there? Yeah, those guys, jeez. Yeah. Yeah, they went. They're right there at the bend underneath the tree. I think you're in the right spot. Yeah. Go. Yeah, right. Keep going. Right. Is that it? Yeah. Right there. I'm looking for that, like the little walkway. And they got some more of them on Cane and Dune underneath there. Well, that was something. It's funny, it was when Melissa actually told me that, I was actually looking at the hood ornament, and I'm like, that's not a Toyota. That's not a Toyota. Do they even make new RAV4s? What's going on here? They do? Really? Oh, okay. Well, that was a Honda. Whenever I hear CRV, I always think of plastic bottles. A kinder, gentler LAPD, putting the cuffs on nicely, I guess. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like he's got a towel or something. Yeah. Man, that was like forever. And that poor guy with his house. That guy ran over his hose and stuff. Was tearing up the shrubbery. What's that all about? I didn't want to say it on air, but it's like, you know, people living out here, this is like the Old West. I'm glad that guy didn't come out with like a shotgun. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we're live. This video has been interrupted. The broadcast has been paused. I don't know. Simon Desk, what would you like us to do?